So I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you some of the things we get up to when we go to an event like MotorEx. So here we are just cruising into Melbourne, and the first thing is to get set up, and we actually got our bump in move forward from midday till 9 o'clock. So this was just before midday, and we're trying to set up, and all of a sudden the judges are in trying to get a look at the car, and obviously they've got the same problem as everyone else to try and get a decent look and see them offside of their dial on the tools. It's quite an effort to get these cars in and set up in the time frame and then have it ready for the judges. And I'm just giving it a hand polish here because I'm using the Merca products, and John Aristis that painted the car up at PPG, he was there, and I got him to come down and have a look because I really wasn't happy. And it turned out that I ended up giving the whole car a hand polish almost at the last minute. So it's like having an extra set of eyes just to see what you're missing. So I'm going to give you a walk through the Performance Garage, and it's really good to go to these events and get a look what's happening in the industry. And I thought the presentation this year was exceptional. A lot of big manufacturers there with a lot of products, and just so much to see and take in. And unfortunately I don't normally get enough time. And of course this car's Adam Rogash's new Capri, and this is being built for drag week, and like all these other cars, just exceptional level of presentation in a very, very short period of time. So I get to have a chat to Adam shortly, and he'll walk you through the car and just show you some of the things they got up to in something like a 4 month period. Well, good morning, mate.
How are you?
How you been?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Is it cold enough for you?
Oh, it's freezing, isn't it?
It's killing down here in Melbourne, but talk about killing, you've killed yourself.
Oh, bad.
So, Adam's from Melbourne down here, obviously, and this is what you've been playing with. Tell us a bit about, firstly, your business, and then secondly, what you've been trying to do here, or you have done now, because you're here and it's done.
So my wife and I own a company called MPW Performance and Race Fab, which is exactly as it sounds. We do everything in-house, from fabrication to wiring, tuning, all that kind of gear. So everything on this car was done in-house except for paint and panel. So,
and then you still got on the tools?
Yeah, 100%. In the time frame we had, so we built this car in 4 months. So the time frame that we had, 4 months. Well, I actually remember being out for dinner with you when I come to Wollongong, remember?
Yeah.
And we were chatting about it, different colours and all that kind of gear. So yeah, we built this in 4 months, after hours, and yeah, this is the first weekend I've had a day off.
And obviously the car's built for drag week?
It's built for drag and drive events, so it's a registered big block.
I heard a rumour you might be taking over the US?
I would like to. That's once the car's sorted, I would like to. Look, Frank from Dandy Engines has got a lot of contacts, and we can make that happen quite easily.
Because obviously you've done very well in Australia over the last few years with the cars. Yep. So, mate, give us a bit of a rundown on what you've been able to achieve with what you got.
So, it has got a 596 cube Dandy Engines built big block in it. Obviously, full trim. We've gone carpet, cup holders, as streety as we can possibly go in a car. Let's be honest, it's a race car with number plates, but we've kept it on that fine line.
Yep.
And as you know, I like nice things, so I didn't want to just slap something together and have it work well, but not look the part. So we ended up, going over the whole car, doing it as nice as we could.
Show us the important bit, mate.
So
I've got to say, I'm impressed with the quality of the paint for the time frame.
So, as I said, we've got a 596 cube big block Chev in here with twin 98mm G57 turbos. So they're from Pulsar Turbo.
Now with the turbos.
So they're from Pulsar Turbo Australia. The engine's built by Frank at Dandy Engines. It's all controlled via a Haltech management system. So we don't have fuse boxes or anything in the car. It's all PDMs and R5s. So
you're talking about stuff I don't know nothing about now?
So it's literally got the latest technology in it. It's a 1970s car that operates like a brand new car. So the engine made 1,000 horsepower aspirated. Our goal is to make over 3,000 with boost.
And I was talking to our good friend Adrian the other day, and he was telling me, can't think what I was going to say now, but you're going to be able to run it rated to travel between?
Yes. Yeah, so the J-pipes come off the bottom of the turbos, and then the exhaust connects back up to the drive exhaust, so the turbos are basically glorified air filters at that point.
And that's something you've developed in-house again?
It is, because to package everything that we have, where the turbos actually sit in this, we can't get an exhaust pipe out of them, so the side pipes come off, we've got covers to go over, and then it goes aspirated.
To say it's a very pretty thing as well.
Yeah, come up nice, eh?
Yeah, no, it's
as you would know, getting a Capri right is hard.
Yeah, and I mean it's just got a nice, good feel. It's a little bit like blue's the colour at the moment.
It is.
But
I think you'll be happy that I didn't paint it Nardo grey like I was going to.
Yeah, he told me he was going to do the primer grey with the, and I go, no.
We're on camera, so I can't say exactly what Howard said.
Put some bling on it. Put some bling on it. Mate, champion job. You've done well.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
So there you go. Another killer car from Adam. And be interesting to see that when it gets it on the track with 3,000 horsepower. So we're just going to roam around and have a look at some of the places. I was super busy this year, so didn't get to do a lot of interviews. It's something we will do more in the future. It's really hard when you've got a car there, and being on some of the, myself doing meet and greets as well, at times fairly limited. It's interesting, the Metal Master range from Heron Ford now just continues to grow, and you'll see in a minute just the amount of different English wheels and all, and I think it's really good to see so many people now trying to take on and learn these skills, and I think with YouTube and the availability of classes and all starting to happen in Australia, we're going to see more and more people that get involved in this type of thing, which is really good to see. So this trade hall set up a little bit like SEMA, so lots of products but also lots of cars, and we'll run through some of those cars in a minute. Here we go. So lots of performance-based cars in a lot of cases. This thing was killer. And then this panel van I did some footage of last year. It was in the muscle car hall. Incredible amount of work with the graphics on this thing. There's just murals everywhere on it. Under the bonnet, the top of the grille. So much work. So these cars will normally have some sort of tie to the traders behind. And I mean, you can get lost in this hall for probably, the best part of a day without going and looking at all the show cars, because there's just so many products to learn about and so many cars to see. There we go. I was talking to my old mate earlier, bit of a fan. I mean, the drag race boys really have pushed the envelope so far now with the times that they're able to do with big heavy cars. And in a lot of cases these cars look like they're a street car, but they're a long way from it. You can see the amount of cage work that's in there, and the CO2 bottles and all for the turbo controls. I mean, we really have blurred that line between, look at that, no inner guards, no struts, towers, no nothing. We really have blurred that line between, street and strip, that's for sure. Now check out this, these cars are wrapped, and it's very, very clever. And I mean, the first one I seen was at Summonats a couple of years ago, but just how cool is that? They do this patina really, really well on this one as well. And I mean, it's a coming thing. It's a very cost-effective way to give your car a new look, and if run it for a couple of events and then take it off and do something different. Now this would nearly be the brightest car I've ever seen, I think. Now, I haven't specifically gone into sort of every booth and had a look, but I was quite impressed with the presentation here from Raceworks, the way they had their stuff displayed. Really, really good. I mean, if you went to this event and weren't happy that you found something you liked, then I think you'd be pretty hard to please, because there was everything from race cars, street cars, full-blown show cars, and then everything you could possibly want to buy when you're doing a car. You can just see how well presented the products here with the lighting and all. I was a bit taken by just how well it was all displayed, considering they've got to set this up in a short period of time and then pull it all down and be out on Sunday night. If you're towing for work or play, make sure your vehicle's up to the task. Your gross vehicle mass can be upgraded to keep everything legal and above board. Find your nearest stockist at lovellsauto.com.au and talk to the professionals about getting your vehicle right for the job. It's incredibly cold. You can see by all the jackets and things, and this particular haul was like an iceberg. So I spent a couple of 1 hour stints each day on the PPG stand, and man, it was cold, but people were out braving it. It's incredible the amount of new products being developed constantly, and I think it's good to see that our industry / sport is just continuing to grow and have more and more parts available for what we do and love. So if you're looking to build yourself a car, then I would say this is one of the events you need to go to and get through this Traders Hall and support the people that really make our industry tick. And they're all there, willing to chat and give you all the information you need on all these new products. So a really good stand here from car builders, and I mean, you go to acknowledge car builders and what they've been able to do in a relatively short period of time. I mean, I can remember talking to the guys at Summonats, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, and their range and their commitment to putting out a quality product that's well packaged, it's easy to buy online. I've dealt with them a fair bit with our builds, and it's just such an easy company to deal with. And they continue to grow, and they've got a very interesting YouTube channel of their own now, doing some really handy work on a four-wheel drive, making panels and all sorts of stuff that's really worth a look. Guys from Blue Wire out of South Australia, actually interviewed him last year, and they're same deal. They've got an ever expanding range of products. where you can just buy a complete loom to go straight into your particular car. And Paul there from Anything Racing. So Paul's the guy that doing all the computer work and made a lot of kits and stuff for the BOSSXC. So that's his new product that he's working with. It's all electrical based, obviously, and a little bit outside of my field of play, but check him out. Another range of insulation that we used on Tailspin, great product. Terrific carpets, man, they've been around forever. Used a bit of their stuff as well. Once again, ever expanding range. So here, this was our spot, so PPG and Mercer. And I got a bit of footage of that Camaro to show you shortly, because you'll be interested to hear about whose car that is. So there's the judges, so their work's done now. This would have been on the Sunday. Drago there in the shorts, he's a brave man. So Mercer's getting more heavily involved in our side of the sport. Now this Camaro, so you would have all remembered Ron Barclay from the Coral Ute. And then for those that really know Ron, would have seen that he had a hot rod at Summernats probably 15 years ago or more, and this is his Camaro, and you can tell by the attention to detail. When I first seen it, I thought, man, someone's put a lot of time into this, and I seen Roddy hanging around. I went over and said, mate, this is yours, isn't it? Because he's been showing me photos of this build for, I don't know, 15 years, I reckon, and he's just been tinkering away each individual item, making that item the best he can possibly do. And I mean, I'm not sure, I was talking to Drago about it, where it will fit in the judging, because there he is, there's Ron. So in typical Ron Barclay fashion, he wouldn't come on camera because that's Ron, he's not that sort of guy. But everywhere you look, inside and out, this thing's, painted and detailed and ground. And what he was proud of is the fact that he believes that he'll bring this car in for under $100,000. But like I said to him, how many hours were on? He goes, oh, well, that's another story. And I would say that, he's probably already got 3,000 or 4,000 man hours in it already, just by looking at the amount of work that he's done. So that'll be one to look out for. He says Summernats, but I've heard that before from Ron. So we'll just wait and see. Look how tight everything is. It's got a few mods, but primarily stock and just incredible detail. So he tells me all the other panels are finished, so it's really assembly now, so he probably should be able to manage to get that ready, and that will be something to check out at Summernats. Righto, so that sort of covered some of the things we get up to, and of course now it's pack up time. So that whole stand now has got to be disassembled, remove all the lights out of each individual panel, pull it all down and pack it so it's not going to get scratched. And you'll see over here the pile of parts that just starts growing. So everything's got to be pulled down, all of those lights. And interesting, another thing is that all of that's got to be tested and tagged before you go. So we packed all that up on Sunday and then headed out to a studio on the Monday to do a shoot with Street Machine magazine. And I'm really hanging for that to come out, because just watching Ben operate, I think we're going to see some really spectacular photos. And that studio had a turntable, so he could actually turn the car around to get exactly the right angle he wanted. And then they go through a whole process of lighting to achieve the result that they want. And a lot of it's done with open exposure. So it's a really interesting process, I guess is the word. and we were there from 8 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon, and they'd also done some footage, like some stills at the event when we were pulling it down on the Sunday. So like everything, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you don't necessarily see when it comes out in the magazine. Sometimes that one shot, might be an hour to get exactly what he's looking for, and then he'll run his lights and test it. So we're home again, and it's been a week, and of course what needs to happen now is tidy the place up, and we've done 3 XCs in a row now, so there's a massive amount of parts, leftovers or broken bits and pieces, and I decided to pull it all out, work out what's got to go back to Peter from BOSSXC, and then assess what we have, because now we've got a panel van to build, which is another XC. So I'm just going to go through all of the bits I've been hoarding up probably over the last 5 or 6 years, work out what we're going to need for the van, and then look to make some room. So incredible amount of parts, and there's even some FG bits there. So that's the original dash center out of the Boss, because we changed that, and that was a bit of a prototype for the lights there in the timber box. And then we wrecked another car as well to get parts for BOSSXC. So now it's a matter of having a look, work out what we're going to do with all these bits and pieces, because the van's obviously only a 2-seater, so we don't need quite so much. I don't throw too much out, because in a lot of cases what is no good for one's good for another. So there's the spare leather, spare paint, some bits and pieces we didn't use that'll go back to Peter now to have with the car. And then just some stainless steel bits and pieces that I have in a box that are just, like I say, don't throw too much out. And then out here we've just got a pile of steel that this stuff is going out. So we pulled apart that complete FG Falcon. Of course there's the panel van getting ready to come in next, and then a whole ute load of plastics that come out of that FG that are of real no value. Well, we'd already cut it up to make it template. So thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, like the channel, and we'll see you next time.